Many games made in the last few years often come with some sort of ability, whether that be being able to fly, invincibility, super strength, being able to hack, control objects, or a dash ability. Just to name a few games that have a dash in some way: Kingdom Hearts, Hollow Knight, Devil May Cry, Mega Man X, Titanfall, Celeste, Ori and the Blind Forest, Skyrim, The Sprint Shout, and of course my game that came out last week for free, Silhouette Dash. Game developers use many different techniques to achieve this desired effect, and today we are going to be exploring the method I use to achieve mine, as well as some alternatives that other games may have used. Stay tuned. Hey guys, Blakey here and welcome back. This video has been requested by a few different people, so I wanted to explore the dash in some other games and see how they compare to mine. Don't think of this video as a tutorial, as it's not really, but don't click off as I will be showing you the code needed, just in a different format, as I didn't want to make a boring tutorial on an interesting topic. If you are here purely to find out how the dash works, skip ahead in the video, but I would appreciate it if you want to stay for the full video. You never know, you might like it. Having an ability gives your game a sense of independence and being unique, especially if you can make this ability differ from other games, which admittedly my game isn't. A great example of this is the game Control, which is on PS4. This utilises a destructive environment using superpowers, which you can like lift rocks out the floor and chuck them and all stuff like that. It is really fun to muck around in. It also gives players a reason to remember your game and help give it a defining feature. Especially in 2020, with the thousands of games being pumped out every month and every year from small to huge development companies. It's even more important to design games that stand out from the hugely oversaturated market, and a good ability that makes your character stand out from the rest can help you achieve this. So after I developed the dash for my game and I was happy with it, I actually came to light that the dash from Celeste uses the same method that I used. After looking at dashes in other games too, I've come to the conclusion that this is the typical method for developing a good dash, although there are of course quite a few other methods that you can go down. I wanted to say that as I want to make clear that I did not copy any game, I swear. I'm pretty sure I followed part of a tutorial then did the rest myself. After spending time doing a lot of research, I'm struggling to find insight on how different developers tackle designing a dash, all from the exception of Celeste's developers, who have left the 5,000 line player movement script they use for Madeline open to read to anybody who wants to, as well as explaining how they went about building the foundations for the dash in an article I found. My game's player code has way less than that in regards to its movement, but hopefully you will let me off. Essentially, they explain that when you press the dash button, Madeline flips into a dash state, where her velocity changes until a very short timer runs out. This timer is 0.15 seconds, which sounds short, but is honestly reasonable when the velocity is increased so drastically. I'm going to explain this more later when delving into my game's dash, so don't worry. When the timer runs out, you are gradually given control back, which is interesting. Hollow Knight's dash works in a similar fashion, except the control given is in a much shorter time, giving a little bit less control. And in my game, it's quite similar to that. Control is given back in the very last stages of the dash. Regardless, all three games give the player control towards the end in some way, as without it, the dash wouldn't feel like an ability, but more of an annoyance and a lack of control. Being honest, when I designed the dash so many months ago, I didn't realise that giving control back just before it ends would be a part of the skill set, purely due to the way it was designed. But it works, and I think players appreciate it more that way, whereas if you want the dash to go further you can just by holding it down a little bit longer, or if you don't want to go just as far you can take off a bit of the joystick or the key, whatever you're using, when the dash starts. The earliest game I can find that makes use of a dash in some way is Mega Man X, which was released in 1993. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that. That game built the foundations for this ability, but it's clear just how lacking that dash was in comparison to more recent games that we've talked about. I will cut them some slack as this was 1993, but I'm just pointing it out for the sake of the video. That dash gives absolutely no control from what I can tell until it is over, but does achieve the basic effect desired. Without this game, there would be no Celeste, no Hollow Knight, no Silhouette Dash. Probably. Right, enough of delving into the great ancient history of the dash. Time to explore the technical side behind the dash in my game, conveniently named Silhouette Dash. Don't forget, you can grab it for free from the first link in the description. It has over 40 levels for you to explore. So I have a scene open that just has a cube that can move left and right. It of course has a rigid body and a box collider as well as a little movement script. Now we are going to give this guy a dash, replicating the one from my game. I'm going to slap in a function called a coroutine. If you've been here a while, you will know that they are my favourite thing ever, as they make life very easy. Anyway, the syntax for this is called an IE numerator, and in that we are going to increase the speed to 60 for 0.07 seconds. Then we're going to set it right back to whatever the normal speed is. You can change this depending on how strong you want your player's dash to be, but make sure you assign your number in the inspector. Don't come to me in the comments telling me it doesn't work when it is not assigned in the inspector, otherwise we will be having some interesting conversations. I've warned you lads, I've warned you. Next, in my update function, I check a couple things. Firstly, let's head back up to the top and we need to add some float variables. Firstly, I have a private float called next-time, and that is initially set to 0. We set it to private because not at any point will we need to assign it in the inspector, as we're going to be assigning it manually through code, if that makes sense. Then I have a public float called cooldown time, and this is how long I want between each dash. Back down to the update function, we are going to check if the function time.time is bigger than next-time. Time.time is just how long the game has been running for in seconds. So to start off, this statement is obviously true. Then we check if left shift is being pressed, and if it is, we're going to set our next dash time equal to how long the game has been running plus whatever the cooldown time is. This is a little bit confusing, but once you wrap your head around it, it is quite simple to understand. Finally, we call that dash move coroutine. Just like that, we got a sweet little dash. The same one I used in my game, just without the added juice like the particles and camera shake and all of that to make it look good. I'm sure you guys can find out that bit by yourselves. Hopefully I haven't missed anything in regards to how my dash works. If you enjoyed this video on exploring the dash in my game and other games, please do subscribe, as each sub really does help. Also, like and comment down below to increase the discovery of this video, and join the community down below. Guys, I'll thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.